Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Liminal Pathways podcast. My name is Sarah, and it is such a privilege to be your host and be on this journey. I know that time isn't real, but Earth Me feels like I haven't put out an episode with a guest in a while, and I am so honored to introduce Ken Breniman. Before I get into introducing Ken, I just want to make a couple of announcements. First of all, thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. I don't have a team. This is just me pursuing a passion project. So I really appreciate all of the shares, all of the likes, all of the follows. It means so much to me in so many ways. I also just wanted to put out there that I created a Patreon account. I will, as always, link all of the information in the show notes, whether it's the Patreon, the links to the websites of my guests. I will link Ken's Instagram, ways to get in touch with him, his offerings, and regarding Patreon, I would love to have folks consider following me over there, whether you are a free or a paid subscriber. And that can be a fun place to chat about all things astrology and whatnot in the interim. So thank you so much for considering that. So let's talk about Ken. Ken Breniman, LCSW, licensed clinical social worker. CIAYT is a yoga therapist, thanatologist, aka mindful mortal, and primatologist at heart. Based in Oakland, California, Ken traces his spiritual roots to his Pennsylvania homeland, where he first learned of the quiet art of non-denominational animism. During his years living in Japan, he came to appreciate how Shinto, the country's indigenous belief system that honors the sacredness in all things, still breathes through even the most modern corners of Japanese life. Having traveled the globe to befriend and study both apes and humans, Ken carries a deep reverence for the delicate balance of life on Earth. His work invites fellow modern humans to dream more, dread less, and imagine how we might evolve into what he calls Homo animus, humans deeply connected to soul. Ken is the self-published author of Subversive Acts of Humanity and A Three-Body Solution, two books that explore how grief, neuroscience, and kindness can help us grow into more compassionate creatures. When he isn't writing or teaching, he tends to his Oakland garden, guiding both plants and people toward the light. His next project is an illustrated trilogy on personal death awareness and grief capacity, a creative continuation of his lifelong devotion to mindful living and soulful dying. This conversation is such a gift. Ken is such a gift, and we will be exploring themes of death, and it's such a privilege to put this out there. So without any further ado, Ken Breniman. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Sarah.
Thank you so much for being here. It is such a pleasure to have this space to be in conversation and connection with you. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to be on this adventure.
I would love to spend some time with you in this liminal space. So
Into
let's
liminal
enjoy it.
pathways.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I love it. So, the first question that I always enjoy asking people that I have on this podcast is in astrology, do you know your sun, moon, and rising, also known as the big three?
Well, an astrology diva just let me know that I'm a double Virgo and
Same.
an Aries moon, right?
Yes, you nailed it. I love it. And have you ever had your chart read before?
I have. A Hawaiian
Yeah.
elder read it maybe several years ago, and I was thinking I should look it up before we
Mm,
met, and I couldn't find it. So I was like,
that's so
I must have to
beautiful.
come in here with beginner's mind.
I love it. I love it. So I already feel a kindred connection because I am also a double Virgo. I am a Virgo moon and Virgo rising with a sensitive little Cancer sun. So the sun in Virgo and a Virgo rising is going to make you very discerning. And
No, just sighing.
okay,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're ruled by Mercury, and your Mercury is in Libra, which I'll get into that. But it's interesting because your sun is in the 12th house. Are you familiar with houses in astrology?
Loosely. I would do better on a multiple choice than an essay quiz.
Amazing. Okay, so think of like a pizza pie that's like cut in like 12 different slices. So you have like 12 domains, and the 12th house is associated with the 12th zodiac sign of Pisces. So that deals with liminal spaces,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, endings, beginnings, because Aries into Pisces is like the biggest liminal space of them all, the biggest birth canal. Um, the I imagine the Ouroboros, like the tail eating its own head when I think of the spring equinox on March 20th,
Right.
21st. That's the beginning, that's the astrological new year. So having your sun, your identity, your life force energy in the 12th house makes sense. And I want you, and you will. I'm looking forward to you talking about your life, your work. It's going to draw you into mysticism and Neptunian concepts, perhaps illusions. Dreams may be very important to you.
Mhm.
You may be a very vivid dreamer. And it's interesting because I always say astrology is a study of polarity.
Mhm.
And the sister sign of Virgo, that is on the other side of the zodiac, is Pisces. So your sun is in a Pisces house.
Mhm.
And I always say too in astrology, like the polarity is the, opposites. It's like the sister sign is the medicine. So having your Virgo sun in a Pisces house, I feel like that Virgo sun of wanting order, right? It's an earth sign, brings some groundedness to the fact that your sun is in such a mystical house that sometimes people can drown in.
Ah, ah. I should get some mystical scuba gear ready because at 56, I
God
think I
bless.
keep swimming in deeper and deeper currents, and it's no, not necessarily might be just destabilizing for those around me, but I'm actually kind of like, oh,
But you're on your
I might
path.
be
I
growing
love
some
it.
gills here.
I
So
love it. I love it so much. So you do have that double Virgo. So when people have their sun and the ascendant in the same sign, their sun is usually in the first house or the 12th house, or maybe sometimes in the second house, looking at the house system, but I won't bore you with that right now and the listeners. So sun in this 12th house. Then your moon is in Aries. As I said, the astrological new year begins with Aries season. Aries is the first zodiac sign. Aries is cardinal fire, and Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war.
okay.
How does that resonate for you before I go deeper?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm quick to try and integrate it or apply it, but
Mm-hmm.
like I find myself this at this phase of my life being very much like my fire, the yogis call it the Agni or Pitta, is
Mm-hmm.
like very much a flame. Like I
I love
think
it.
like at this point, like the embers are kind of dwindling. You might be able to make
Aw,
some more, but like, oh, my 70-year-old neighbor will go, you'll get tired eventually. I said, that ain't happening just yet,
I
right?
love it. It's your spirit, your soul is on fire.
Yeah.
And then that's so Aries of me to say. And I think also speaks to your leadership. And as we talk and get to know you deeper, I'm excited to see this playing out.
Mhm.
Um, Something else that I noticed is that your moon is in the seventh house of relationships, and it is conjunct with a 2-degree orb, Chiron. Are you familiar with Chiron?
Iran, I'm not to tell.
Okay. So I also have a moon Chiron conjunction in my chart in Virgo. So the moon is our inner world, our feelings, the Akashic records, if you're familiar.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. The moon rules the sign of Cancer, right? The moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So when our moon, this very sensitive part of our psyche, is conjunct Chiron, a centaur, the myth of the wounded healer,
Yeah.
always having this forever wound that they'll never be able to truly quote unquote fix. But it's like I like how you said the word integration. It's like how do we integrate these wounds into what we do?
Mhm.
And for me, it's in the first house of how I show up, and for you, it's in the seventh house of relationships, one-on-one relationships with other people. And then the 11th house is more like friend, like large group connections.
Okay, okay. Hmm, hmm. That might explain
Okay.
why I do better with small groups and individuals and, getting in front of the large masses and speaking at them doesn't really interest me, right? Like I dream of maybe doing a TED Talk, but like
Amazing.
I just thrive as an
Yeah.
extrovert with this kind of
I
exchange.
love it. And it's like with that moon Chiron, it's like we can share our wounds and our healing journey with other people, right? The first and the seventh houses are me and we.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So that's beautiful. Um, I am reading you now. Your moon and Chiron are opposite your Mercury and Uranus. And I've talked about Uranus in like every single episode, I swear. But Uranus is the planet of change that we can't prepare for,
Hmm.
um, things that kind of rock our worlds, things that are unpredictable. And Uranus happens to be in esoteric astrology, the higher octave of Mercury. And as I just said, your Mercury and Uranus are conjunct at 2 degrees in your first house. So this is like, and I'm just a quick, I just pulled up your chart. This is like the biggest takeaway in my chart. Like Uranus is like a lightning bolt that electrifies your words and communication in the house of you. And it's in Libra, that sign that like balance, fairness, justice. So I'm really excited for you to
Yeah.
share whatever
Oh,
comes up.
wow. About this in particular, or should I'm
Or just
enjoying.
throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like reading
Okay.
you the feel
Yeah,
right now.
please, please.
Amazing. So thank you so much for letting me do that quick snapshot. Do you have any questions? I feel like
I don't know if it's a question. It's maybe part of the persona that is represented by the reading that you just did. But like,
mhm.
I I just sometimes and friends around me are like, enough already. Like I gush when I hear someone accessing their superpowers and being able to help others. Like that lands for me that you would,
Mm.
go so far as to create a podcast, invite people in. I'm sure you do this individually too, off camera, but it's like, wow, to be able to help someone see themselves.
No, for real. I got into consuming podcasts in like 2020,
Uh,
when I had a lot of time on my hands. And that was the time before that. And like, I don't even like to say like spiritual awakening has like a linear start time and end time. Like, I've been like spiritually like woo woo since like a child, honestly, when I think about it. I'm like, "Hey, guy." But, and I also know that, that you're into thanatology and so many other things. But like, this concept of souls. What happens when we die? Why are we in a flesh? What are we doing here? And these are questions I'm like asking as a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. And families like,
What
unless
are
you
we
got
gonna do with
another
her?
woo-woo relative there, right? Right. Like, yeah.
No, um,
But there's also something to be said about why we're placed in certain family systems, right? That's probably a whole thing right
exactly,
there.
exactly. And I feel like in some of my episodes, I'm also like deconstructing patriarchy and Abrahamic religions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot to talk to there, especially talking about like Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And I talked about that in a past episode. Are you familiar with Sarah, the daughter of Mary and Jesus?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
But
that's okay. I'm going on a
were you
million
named were you
tangents.
named after
Super
her?
quick. No, it was more like the biblical Sarah, like Abraham and Sarah, the one who like gave birth at like 100 allegedly. So anyway,
Yeah. No, I grew up with kind of what I call watered down Christianity. I had a great grandfather who was a minister, but like
uh
my family never really explained anything. So I even asked my neighbors, this is a tangent, but I asked my neighbors
no,
like to take
I'm the same way.
Sunday school so I can like understand. But actually it's sort of like astrology. It wasn't until I stumbled upon animistic beliefs
Yes, that's what I'm
and
saying. Me
and
too.
Shintoism when I lived in Japan, and then finally circling back after all these years to understand, oh, it's in my blood. Celtic wisdom. Like
God is, oh my God, Celtic wisdom. Yes. Like
I
the
was like,
oak
that
tree.
makes sense. And then they
Yes.
assimilated Christianity, and then I started to understand it. But when it was just here, read this, it just didn't
And
make
it was
sense.
kind of for me, it also felt like it was being forced down my throat. Like I never consented to this. I'm a child.
Well, if we were siblings, they'd be like, "What are they doing?" But like, I think as a 5-year-old, I would ask my mom when my great grandfather died. I said, "Wasn't he just teaching?" Because we was learning like about mythology. I was reading like
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis. I was like, "Wasn't he just teaching myth?" And my mom's like, "No, that's the Bible." I was like, "But it's stories we tell ourselves to make sense of the world, and great
Yeah.
that people can use it."
That's also
Anyway,
how I look at the Bible and mythology in the same way. Like I remember in my senior year of high school, the most beneficial class I took for fun, because I'm a nerd, a humanities nerd. The class was actually called humanities. We read classics, like we read Dante's Inferno, we read Medea, the Theban plays. We read the Old Testament. I
wow,
remember people like, "Why are you reading the Bible for? Isn't that indoctrination?" I'm like, we're reading the Bible as literature.
yes,
That was really cool. And I went to public school, like to just like talk about this in class, and I got so much out of that. And I also love mythology and the stories. And let me know why every culture about 6,000 years ago, no matter where you are, you have a flood myth. I
yeah,
think that speaks to something deeper. And
yes.
yeah, I don't take everything in the Bible as like truth with a capital T. I see it more as mythology too. And but it's the principle I think of like being younger, right? When we're younger, we don't really have agency over our lives. And
Or
just
be a filter.
literally. So it's like, oh, you have to do this. You have to. And I'm like, and I was questioning. I'm like, why? 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 And like no one could ever give me good answers. But I do want to circle back to what I'm thinking about the podcast. So 2020 got really into podcasts. I actually 2022 like tried it a little bit. It was, and I'm not knocking myself. I was that was like 4 years ago. It was audio only. It was like the worst quality, and like I was not nearly as evolved as I am now. And like again, like we're always evolving. There's pre-Saturn return. So I did that for a little in 2022, but I wasn't consistent, and I feel like I picked up once in 2023. Went back to consuming, and then really around the time of my Saturn return in 2025 was like I need to get in touch with my passions, and I started the podcast this year in 2026, but I'm like like mask off, like here I am,
Yes.
and it's liberating.
How else can we show up but as ourselves? And we either put energy into kind of suppressing who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we put energy into amplifying who we are. And gosh, as much as what we're looking at in the world today is kind of like I feel like everyone's trying to mute themselves just to get through.
It's
But I was like, oh,
society and the blend in, fall in line.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't rock the boat.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Hmm.
hell no.
Uh-huh. I'm glad you're not only rocking the boat, but you're rocking the world with kind of bringing astrology back in because
I
we
appreciate
can
that.
forget about these really
Hmm.
important framing of what it means to be in the human species, and
Yes.
I can get more into that later, but I'm just like,
Please do. Um, let's go. So I feel like that was the perfect segue into my first question, so to speak, which is very broad, but can you tell us about yourself, your journey? Start wherever you want. I know that is such a broad question, but I don't want to like put anyone in a box.
no. And I realize like I even as a therapist, I have these two modes. I'm like, this
Hmm.
is so exciting. Let's really stay with this. But I know there's several areas that we'll cover. But I would start in the birth canal.
Yes, let's hear
And
it.
I love doing little edutainment moments with telling a story because it's never about just one thing. But you know Stan Grof's model.
Of
Dr.
improv?
Stan Grof has a very interesting model. I don't know how it matches up with astrology, but he's like through holotropic breath work and working with people with psychedelics, like he found that there's these four matrices in being born, right? And plain and simple, like my birth was uncertain and unwanted. So I enter the world going, the world doesn't want me, but I have all this is hindsight. I have all this to offer. I must be a lot for my family, right? And so with my living parent, I've often been like, Dad, I must have been a lot. He's like, he wasn't around anyway, so he's like, I don't really remember. I was like, okay, fine, but I'm still going to apologize for being a lot. I think it's ironic that pop culture reference, like I was, not named after, but there's a Barbie companion named Ken, and that movie came out, it was like Knuff.
It's just Ken.
Knuff, right. And it's
I
like,
am Kenough.
and
I'm
then
gonna
people would give me
name
a
that the title.
pillow.
I am Kenough.
Enough. There you go, right? Because it was around the time that that came out, and I sat in the movie, and the last song, I just sat there. Everyone else was like, "Oh, it's a great movie." I was like sobbing. The what was I made?
Oh,
What was I made for? Right? That song, it hits in so many ways, right? So
yeah.
from birth canal to 56, I was like, I do know what I was made for. And it feels really,
Mhm.
really good to have, a little bit of life force to manifest books, documentary, and these spaces that I do here in local Oakland. Like I get to teach a men's naked yoga class.
A
Like,
men's naked yoga class? That sounds epic. Like I would love to come, but I'm not a man.
well, I always, when I dream of the paradigm shift where everyone's like, I'm in this body. I want to get over my body image issues. And the best we
Hmm.
can do is kind of contain it to the people that
No, no, I know,
arise.
I know.
And we've tried. We have tried to do a female
I like
body
that.
class.
I
But it's
really
like
like that.
it's opportunities to like show up as fully as possible.
Be who you are. Yes, that's
That's right.
amazing. That's like the bathhouses, you know.
That will be what my prequel is about for my sci-fi novel. It's going to be set in a gay bathhouse because I was like, the world is not quite ready for all this to be mainstream, but I'm not ready to have people shut down and slip back to Handmaid's Tale, right? Like, what are
Hmm.
our options? Become freer with ourselves and
I
evolve?
think that we need to be as unapologetically cringe as possible because that's the antidote. And then if we don't do that, we get all these autoimmune diseases, and because we're trying to. I can only speak, as a woman, as a someone as a menstrual cycle, but like these systems that just expect productivity and input regardless of where you're at in your your own moon cycle, and how it's not really helpful.
It, it's not, and I think it is not only soul crushing, but you're right. We look at all these autoimmune disorders and just
Yes,
sort of people trying hard to not try hard.
for real. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So this
Something
is
that
kind of who I am, and
I love
the
it.
energy I bring to the world. And when I'm really tired, I curl away and hibernate for a while, right? That's I love the balance of being an extrovert that wants to share and also knowing that as we
Of
know the power of
course. And I think
self-care.
another thing to layer on too is like folks of all genders is like
Yeah.
have rest in your life. I know for me, because I've been like really, really, really been super mindful of my cycle, more mindful than I've ever been in my life. Like I have like a relationship with my cycle, so I can only speak to like what's going on in my body.
Yeah, well, and to be able to outwardly express it, but also have that intimate inner communication with,
Mm-hmm. And so they're being,
yeah,
it's like,
I guess.
okay, like sit with it.
Yeah, my unfiltered thing is I'd say I'm kind of jealous of someone that has a cycle because I'm like a
You want to
little
take my cramps and mood swings?
we can do a
Here,
Freaky Friday.
for real, take it.
Just try 24 hours for starters.
Aw. Yeah, I don't know, go there now, but have you seen like those like period cramp simulations that like men
Oh,
will like put this belt on and they're like, "Ah," and like I'm like it's out of four.
it's- let me turn it up a little bit.
No, like for real. Like yeah.
Well,
But again,
there's
I don't
that.
want this to be like a gender versus gender thing, but it's just like speaking about like my own personal experience.
Well, no, I'm glad it's a share and exchange. And if we had
Yeah.
a panel of all manifestations of the human form, it would be an interesting one too.
Exactly, of course.
Ali Wong has a great stand-up routine where
I love, yeah.
she has her at that time husband who seems like he's going to have an appendicitis. She's like sits with him and sits with them and sits with them and he goes, "Now you understand? Okay, let's go to the hospital."
Oh my
It
gosh.
wasn't
Yeah.
a simulator, but it was the closest she could get.
Yeah, yeah. But something that when you were talking about like the birth canal, I was thinking about how we're born sometimes because I really look at our birth chart as like a snapshot of like the exact moment that we're born. That's why I always tell people like your birth time like should be as exact as possible. If not, like I've had clients that they're like, I know I was born in the morning. Like, can you narrow that down a little bit? They're like between 10 to 11. So I'll pull up a chart for 10, 10:30, and 11. Because really the ascendant is going to change and the moon might be in a different sign because it changes every 2.5 days. So I at least like if I'm like, do you know if you're born in the morning, at night? Like, can you give me something to work with here? I know
Yeah,
some astrologers do like birth chart rectification.
I have
Um,
heard of that. Yes, because a lot of my Vietnamese partner and some people that
mhm.
I know have moved here and the parent got the year wrong or the day wrong.
Yeah, the immigration, things get
Yeah,
lost in
yes, yes.
translation. There's the language barriers. Yeah.
So those,
Mhm.
yeah. Do you do those chart
Birth
readings?
chart
Yeah, yeah,
rectification.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Not currently at the moment, but I do, I'm going to plug myself in, natal chart, which are birth chart readings, transit chart readings, which is taking a look at the current astrology in the sky, how it's hitting your chart. Are you going through a Saturn return? Are you going through a nodal return? Um, what house are transiting inner and outer planets in? That can really help if you're doing like a year ahead reading, for example, looking at the general themes of the seasons. And then I also do synastry and composite charts. So synastry is the relationship between two people, for example, like a parent and their child, two partners. And then a composite chart is different because that's taking a look at the midpoints of both
Mhm.
of the people that you're looking at. So a composite is more of a chart of the relationship itself.
Okay, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I bet that's really good for relationships to see each other.
Yeah. And again, like not just romantic relationships, but any relationship, friendships, siblings, parents, children, someone at work. Like,
I was gonna say, I know someone
is
that
this
might have
person's pissing you
their
off?
toxic boss and them might need a little chart reading.
No comment. Yeah.
Mhm.
But okay, yeah, I'm saying we're born with these imprints because our birth chart is a snapshot And you were saying that you felt shame.
What did I say? Well, I have gotten glimpses. Well,
Hmm.
I've gotten glimpses of my mom's journal she was young with
Hmm.
two kids, and I've gotten glimpses through psychedelic journeys that she really didn't want a second child. She
Hmm.
probably would have divorced my father a long time ago, right? But she
Hmm.
was bound, obligated, and a loyalist.
And that was the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
I know that I came in at a time being a lot, that was a lot for
I
her.
don't think you're a lot. Listen, people sometimes I think that I'm a lot. And like part of my like rewilding, I said I'm not too much. I'm not a lot. I'm a highly sensitive, highly feeling person. And if that's too much for someone, bye.
Yeah, yeah. I'm using those the same way that some
Okay.
communities will reclaim a word that was used
Yes.
against them. It's like,
Yeah, like
you know,
queer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. For sure.
So it's just kind of fun to sit with now that I don't take that personally, but that took a lot of work, right? To be like, wow, mom, you did the best you could. Um,
Yeah. Same,
so
same, same, same here. Yeah.
and so it's just kind of it's it frees me up, and the way I've framed it is I'm living her unlived years. She died at 42. I'm 56. You can do the math, but like all of that from my age 18 to now is like every time I go on a trip, if there's a horse riding place, I'm like, Mom, we're going horseback riding, right? I take that continuing relationship with her and do something on her behalf. Uh,
So, wow, thank you for sharing that with me. I love
that
my
got
parents.
something for you, right? Right?
I love my parents very much. My maternal grandmother passed away at 40 from liver cancer, and the liver is associated with rage, grief, and thinking about, she had two children, a son and a daughter in the 1960s. Women couldn't have credit cards in their names. And really, like, yeah, like, she passed in 1977. I was born in 1995. My mom was 13 when she passed away. So, imagine being like a little girl and like getting your period for the first time, like your mom's in the hospital dying of fucking cancer.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
when I was
Mhm.
younger, I feel like when I was the age that she was when her mom died, I like had a lot of resentment towards my mom. But it's like with all the like I understand why.
Sure. Well, I mean, I want my mommy as one of the most like hardwired feelings for even if we're orphaned, right? Like to want
Yeah.
I have this is
Mhm.
tangential, but I have someone an
I'm a
elder.
tangential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But this elder man is coming to do some psychedelic work, and he's like, I hope Mother Ayahuasca breastfeeds me because I know I didn't
Mhm.
get it. I was like, that's a
Wow.
beautiful intention. He's not like holding that that's going to actually happen, but this elder man that never got to know his mom, like it is still in us. It will always
No,
be
it
in.
is. It is, genetically, physically. I mean, looking at the maternal line, it's like I was in my mom's womb, who was in her mom's womb, and we're just like Russian dolls of each other. And even though two of us never met her aside, I feel like I've known her all my life. Like I was asking questions about her when I was like two.
Yeah, yeah. Who was this person, right?
Yeah, like I remember like being in the bathtub or something, just like asking all these questions. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Um,
hey, let me do something then. Since we're not only tangential, but we're also probably very ritualized. I want to, on behalf of our moms, I'm going to light my candle for us, okay?
aw,
And not to get too out there, whether we get to this or not, it is a candle I brought back from my trip to Borneo, which is also dedicated to my mom, and it's
aw,
the
that's what a
wick,
beautiful tribute. I love
the wick.
this. And mother. To
Yes,
mothers and the concept of mother. And, I don't have biological children of my own, but I consider myself to be a mother of ideas, a
yeah,
mother in other ways. I'm a Cancer sun, so that is mother. Oh, beautiful. I feel it.
yeah,
But that kind of goes back to the point I was making earlier about like, I feel like, yeah, when you repress things, when you don't maybe allow yourself to feel, that's going to come back in other ways. And this is something that I talked about in my first guest episode with Dr. Marissa Catapano, a naturopathic doctor and a neo emotional release practitioner. And she also, every single guest I feel like I've had come on, you know, not every, I don't know, but either has brought up plant medicine.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's a sign because it's something that I haven't done, but I'm very curious about. So you're like number five or something like that.
Well, and
I guess I just yeah.
I think it's because maybe for the same reason that you might be bringing astrology to as many people as you can. I think our Western paradigm is just so thirsty for portals to the liminal spaces.
No,
And
exactly.
I walk around talking about it pretty openly, but I also get to teach one of the
And not
few.
everyone can face our depth because I also realize I talk about deep things pretty openly, and like I realize like I need to like read the room a little bit, but because I'll be saying something that like is so obvious to me, and it's like read the room, Sarah. I'm like,
Oh, oh, oh.
oh,
But I think we can still be seed planters, and you never know kind of what that does for people. Just to I call it edutainment, like part education, part entertainment, but like there is something there about like letting people know about options. And I got to teach, I get to teach a graduate level psychedelics course in Wisconsin, via Zoom. And it's one of the, well,
wow,
there's more and more of them around, but I had this one person, she reminds me of you, that like she was a
aw,
medium and she was going through this grad program of thanatology, and she said in the opening class, she's like, I'll never touch plant medicine because I'm so wide open. I already see what all you'll see when you drink that stuff. And like it was beautiful because she wrote a paper, gave her A+ about all the modalities one could use without it being plant medicine.
and that's something that I think about too. Like I've done like holotropic breath work before. Like I'm very sensitive and
Yeah.
empathic, and I feel like anything beyond weed, I'm nervous.
You may already be there. Just like the Beatles story about them taking, I think, LSD to their teacher in India, and he
No,
took like
like I've
large
never
doses of
done.
it.
Like I don't.
No, no, but the beautiful part is like the Beatles are experimenting, their music's changing. They take them to their teacher in India, and the Indian guru is like, "Well, what should I be experiencing?" It's like you're probably already experiencing it,
And
guru.
it's like
And
Jimi Hendrix. Like, are you experienced?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like yeah, I've been tapped in since birth, and then whether it's patriarchy, whether it's Abrahamic religions, whether it's the traditional nuclear family, that white picket fence, two and a half children mindset that a lot of boomers have. I know. Oh no, you're Gen X.
It's 56, I guess so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Gen. Yeah, yeah. No, you're Gen X. Okay. I think the boomers is till 1965 or 66. So
And they had their chance. They had their summer of love, but we're also, right, not to get into
no,
these
you're good. You're good.
places
We,
of
we can go for it.
like we're also, we're still dealing with a very stealth undercurrent of the war on drugs. And so, right, to
Mhm.
have these modalities that help people access without getting into all of that kerfluffle is it's beautiful. So that's exactly why I wanted to sit here with you today. Is like
I love you
we're all
because you
making our
just said
path.
kerfuffle.
Certain
I
words we
love
need to
that.
bring back, right?
No, like I said kid and caboodle in conversation the other day. So I was like, what? What you just like kid and caboodle?
There it is.
And I also consider myself to be an edutainer as well. So I love that you said that. Amazing. Ah, so can you tell us more about, well, I want to know like everything. Thanatology. I know what it is, but could you tell us about like your personal relationship, maybe what it is a little bit for folks who are listening?
Yeah, well, much like your exploration of podcasts in 2020, around 2018, I just decided that like I needed to put myself back in structured curriculum and study something. And I was up late one night, like Googling, and I stumbled on this word. I was like, thanatology, why don't I know this? I tend to like obscure studies, although I'm not an academic, like I don't want to do the research. I want to let other people do the research and borrow from their wisdom so that
That
I can
makes you an
apply it.
academic. Listen, you don't need to have a PhD after your name to be an. I consider
I
myself an
know.
academic.
I'm a
I
field
just
researcher.
read. I Gemini Mercury. I'm an academic.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm ruled by Mercury. Yes, definitely.
I walk around with this magic wand and I go, you're a thanatologist. You're a thanatologist. We're all thanatologists if we
Like
even
Oprah.
think, if we, yeah, if we
Oh my
glitter, if we
gosh,
even think about our mortality, that's why I call kind of what I do mindfully mortal. Is like,
I
if
love
we
it.
think about it, then we're all kind of studying this kind of life death duality,
Rebirth. Yes.
rebirth, exactly.
And were you talking about this in your book about how ends were beginnings? That I just listened to about the Subversive Acts of Humanity.
I have my orangutan puppet holding it behind for reference. Yeah. Yeah.
Yay! And there was a piece about that. So there was a lot
Yeah,
of things that I'm like,
well, it's like thanatology to me is really just a way to get the either get it's a litmus test. People either go,
mm-hmm,
"What is that?" or they'll be like, "I don't want to know more about that," and then you can move on to the other conversations. But I think in simplest terms, I refer to what the X-Men, who the X-Men battled in the end game stuff was like Thanos, right? And if you look at that character he was kind of miserable and alone. He didn't like doing that job of taking lives, but it was kind of his, his
like the Grim Reaper.
kinda right. Yeah. So I I was introduced to death very early, so I have another. This is the prototype, but it's a kid's book about a young kid that dreams of death, and the mom freaking out, like, "Whoa, what's wrong with my child?" So I just called it Cecil because I don't. I think to simplify it for a kid that is maybe lost a pet, or it can be
Yeah,
very
grief.
useful for someone to be like, "You've now confronted something that might be too big for even the adults to conceptualize."
Mm-hmm,
What if we just think of life on one end of a teeter-totter and death on the other, and what that means
mm-hmm.
to sort of hold that balance? Um, so I like to be an applied thanatologist and sprinkle, optimizing living through understanding it can't last forever.
I love that. I love that so much. Applied thanatology. Wow. There's so many follow-up questions that I have. Like, I kind of want to like let that land a little bit
Mm.
for myself and others who are listening, and kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier about from an early age, like being not obsessed is the right word, but like fascinated by death. Because as I mentioned, my maternal grandmother passing away, 18 years before I was born, but having that, connection with her. My maternal grandfather passed away when I was 4.5 years old. So seeing, um, my mother's grief journey with that,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
oh, heaven. I'm like, oh, cool. What's heaven? Like,
Right.
and then
Right.
I also go on a million tangents. When I watched The Good Place, that was, yeah, yeah. Like, what happened? Like, our body goes underground or cremate or whatever. And I love talking about this.
Yes. Yeah.
I not
There.
in a morbid way. Like, I also in January spent some time with she just turned 93 a couple days ago, my grandma, my paternal
Mm,
grandma.
mm,
Um, and I thought to myself, what a blessing it is to reach this age. And also because I'm a manifesting generator in human design, I'm also
okay.
3/5,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
everything's trial and error for me. And I also know that in terms of like profession, I can't do one thing. I've tried that where I had one full time, but I'm someone I need to do a lot of things. And I, had a ping about like death doula. Again,
Hmm.
yes, yeah, my grandma is not going anywhere right now. She's a very strong lady, but like that thought did come to me.
Yeah.
So
Well, Ron
I
Brown. Yeah.
also I do very well with babies and the elderly and
And
pets. They love me.
we may need hand holding and companionship in any phase of our life, but just coming into
Hmm.
the world and then leaving the world, that's where the midwifery and the doulaing
Yes.
really is important. I don't
And
think
I,
you have to, well, I am certified, and New York
hmm
Times got me a little blurb about being, I was like, yay, right under Nicole Kidman. I was like, death doula, yay. But I like the idea of just like most people aren't prepared enough to enlist someone.
hmm
You're there for your grandmother, and maybe not official douulaing, but you can
It
hold
was
space
the
for
most meaningful week of my life. I felt like I was, hanging out with an old friend, and I was making her laugh so hard, and
a death doula who knows how to edutain.
not for real, not put that on a business card or like my LinkedIn bio or whatever, but for real. So
Yeah,
that was in January, and I do want to go back to see her again
hope you
in
get to
January. So.
that. What a gift to you and to her. And I don't know enough about how epigenetics and DNA healing, but
Neither do I. I'm a
firmly
humanities girl.
firmly believe in ancestral connection, or if you're
Me too.
less spiritual, you can either just call it continuing bonds is
And
what
it's
so
ironic. Sorry.
yeah, no,
It's
no, just
ironic because on one hand, like my grandma and I have so much in common, like we're both eldest daughters, all these things. And then it's also ironic that growing up, like when my dad was growing up, and I guess by association, when I was younger, we go to grandma's, she's very religious. And
hmm
I do not consider myself to be religious in the slightest.
yeah, yeah.
Like I believe in God. I'm not even Catholic, and I love Jesus. Like I have a connection with Jesus, but not in the way that like churchgoers would think,
hmm
but in a way like he's a master healer, and so is Mary.
yeah, yeah. You could even quote, the goddess Cher. She believes in life after love. I
Do
mean,
you
that is the same
believe
thing.
in
The same
that
thing, right? To believe in life after life, even. There's a good
exactly.
place, though. I wanted to, whether you watch movies or not, but there's a very, I think, a meaningful, underrated movie called Afterlife. It's not Ricky Gervais's Netflix, but it's a Japanese film about. It's dry, but I wouldn't be surprised if Good Place took something from it. These people, like a handful of people die. They come to this like
Hmm.
waiting room. Someone interviews them, and what they have to find is their happiest moment. And then this team recreates it. And it never
Like a life
explains how or
review.
why. It never explains how or why, but once they get to relive that happy moment, poof, then they go somewhere else. It's such a
Wow.
beautiful movie though.
Have you seen the Disney Pixar movie Soul?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yes.
Great Before and
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm
That was what I was afraid is if Pixar gets a hold of this, they'll either be like, we already did that, or you're copying us. But no, it's very
Well, then
different.
maybe they can hire you as a consultant and then
Right.
you get the
I
royalties.
just live up the street, so
Oh, yeah, right. You're in California.
Emeryville, they're right up there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. You never know.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that we get to do as I think I'm a projector in the human design, but if manifest is
Okay.
like I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, and if people discover it, great. If not, I know my dream is to have as
I
many of
love
my
it.
books in small little libraries around the country. Like that's to me making like because it's even if people do
Hmm.
every scrolling and that I know what saved my life as a kid was going to the library and finding something. Oh, this changed my life. And I know that there are still readers out there. I know that there are still people that want to kind of like use their
Think
imagination.
critically.
Oh, there. Yes. So if I can do that for the next generation, I don't need to have kids. I just like, no, I gifted you this. So
It's amazing because as you were saying that, I literally wrote down like legacy and like underlined it. I'm like, what do we leave behind? Again, I'm
yeah.
30. I I'm in a place I don't know if I want to have children. I never really was like, oh yes, I want to have children. But it's like not like no, never. But I'm like, I don't know. But then I think about my in terms of legacy, what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to be the mother of and the father, the parent, etc. And for you, intuitively and just talking to you, your books, your literature, the lasting impacts that you have on your clients, your friends, your loved ones, people who know you. So that's what I think about when I think about legacy. What are we leaving behind to make the world a less shitty place?
Right, right, right. Yes. And I will make sure that you get a notification. But if our little film festival, maybe I'll bring it to New York, our film festival documentary on my trip to Borneo and back is also one
Hmm.
of those. Like it's just gonna be, it'll probably end up on YouTube somewhere. But it's called Primates, Privilege, and Possibility. It's
Right,
to
that's your Insta handle.
yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, how do we just sprinkle the world, like you said, to make it a little more sweet and sunny, even though it might be like it feels sometimes bitterness and cloudiness is kind of,
For
when you
real. For real. And another thing I appreciated about your book, which like, I mean, everything, but it's like applying this to primates that, don't overthink things the way that like us humans do and like, well, what
right.
should I wear? Like,
Well, if you ever get a chance, even at a zoo, and just you observe, especially orangutans are this way. I spent a month with them.
mhm.
They'll pick up their food and look at it, and it's like I don't want to make them human, but it's like they just teach us about kind of mindfulness if you observe it, right? And they're just like using their energy so I guess intentionally,
Yeah. And I
but
also think about the point that you made about, animals like domesticated versus feral and kind of applying that to humans. And I guess in my case, I'm, thinking about women in particular,
yes.
the roles of a good wife, a good mother, all these things. And again, some people, that's their choice. They love it. They're happy. So like, I hope that this does not come from like a place of like, I'm judging you. But like, I think that, yeah, that piece of like domesticated versus feral and how in a safe place. But I think that for our nervous systems and our whatever, sometimes we need to be feral in safe ways. Like for me, it's hard for me to like, I guess like I hold in a lot of anger. I
Mhm.
just take a pillow and scream into it, or, just like do it in my car. Because healthy ways, not saying go, yell at the neighbor, you know what I mean? But or some
Unless
people
you
go
have an exchange. I get to
kickboxing.
yell at you for 5 minutes, you yell at me for, oh, good, we feel better, huh? Because to be witnessed
Yeah,
from
to
your
be
neurons.
witnessed,
But you used the word earlier about being rewild. I don't know exactly.
rewild. Yes, like rewilding. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's a word that people use about kind of freeing up park space and stuff. But I think also our spirit, we are so
yeah,
closely related to, all these other beings that don't try to build our own cages and contain ourselves. And this other discernment that I've heard you say a couple times, like we got it wrong when we named depression, because it's actually a lot of energy suppressing, right? We suppress
yep,
so much energy and then we are depleted. That's depression. But the process
yeah,
is suppressing a lot. Um, so-
yes, yes. And a main theme, whether it's Dr. Catapano, a lot of conversations that I keep having with folks keep circling back to also, the pharmaceutical industrial complex in, well, particularly the United States, and that's the so-called place that I'm in. But okay, give you an SSRI, give you the, give you this, come back in 10 days and we'll, see how you're doing. But then also like on these commercials, it's like, oh, side effects may include suicide. Like
and
what
then and
what
then
are
the
we
next
doing?
and then the
What
next commercial, the next commercial is a drug that's to help with the side effects of another drug.
or a fucking Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's hard to stay awake, and it's even harder to sometimes help people see all there is to see because it's a lot. Not Gabor Mate. Bessel van der
Yeah.
Kolk is another trauma guy,
Mhm.
but he's like, we only have so many like neural pathways to be able to hold all the truths that there are. And then
Yes.
sometimes the human psyche is just like, oh, I can't handle that. So I'm glad you can handle a lot and hold a lot for all the people that you get to make contact with in this work that you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that so much.
And everything is trial and error. Not even error, just
Everything.
everything.
Well,
Everything.
the trial and error piece, again, astrology is more my jam, but I do know in human design, yeah, I'm the you say you're a projector. So what is, do you have emotional authority?
Good question. Again,
I don't really know much
these
about human
frameworks are great, and
design.
people tell me what they are. Be like, yeah,
No,
that
no, no,
sounds
you're
right.
good, you're good. I just know I'm a manifesting generator and I have sacral, so it's like you feel like the gut, or is
Yeah.
that more of the solar plexus? Again, my forte is astrology, but it's the manifesting generator. We have like a motor or something from like our throat to our sacral. So it's like just speaking things out. It's in the moment. Do I want to do this? Yes or no? And so sometimes like I don't know, because you know, I have
Well,
like multiple sides to me that are like, oh, maybe it's the Gemini, the Virgo that are like going at it. I'm just like, what was it in the moment? Like when I first heard that, what was my gut reaction? Was I
yeah.
like, uh-huh, or was I like, no?
Well,
But going, yeah.
I get across. I can feel New York coming through the airways. It's great. Do you want a super simple story from the Celts, from the old Irish
Yes,
wisdom? So it's so simple. It'll take
please
less than
do.
30 seconds. But there's this idea of three cauldrons in our body. So it's, I would love that you're pointing to the chakras and be like, there's so many complicated systems, but this is three cauldrons. The first one is near kind of the base. So that's the cauldron of the body. And we're supposedly born with them upside down. We have to flip it over and learn how to use our body, right? Then the second is the cauldron of our emotions. We have to flip this over and learn how to understand our emotions. The third is the one I think modern paradigm is the most challenging is we have to flip over the head cauldron. Then what do? We fill it with so much information, and this is the cautionary tale of the story. We don't give it time to develop what the Celts believed is wisdom. We just scroll information, scroll information, scroll information. So to synthesize it, right, it comes with age and time, and I still don't have much wisdom, but like it's making sure that we don't let it overflow with so much info.
I feel like thank you so much for sharing that, first of all, Ken. And second of all, to add on to that with technology and short form content. And I mean, first it was TikTok, and then you have reels on Facebook, Instagram, TMI, but I'm like pooping or whatever. And I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I say t take a stroll and stop the scroll. Dream more, dread less, and books, not bombs. Those are my hashtags
Books,
sometimes.
not bombs. I like that. I like that one a lot.
I'd like to throw my thick one at a certain people that probably wouldn't
Thick.
read it, but I also put that in the literature. I'm like, if you ever read this, no, I mean you no harm, but
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
this is
Wow.
amazing. You synergize quite fabulously.
Well, thank you. So, can you tell us a little bit about any, I don't know if it's services that you're providing and or the literature that you would like to talk a little bit more about?
I get to do a PSA, huh? Well, I
Love
think
a PSA.
the interesting thing about being here now is
Mm-hmm.
before the pandemic, I loved getting into all the local yoga studios and do all this stuff. After the pandemic, though, what happened was a select few of my students just said, we just want to practice in the middle of our home. And so I have these two Zoom classes. People can attend from
Was this
all.
the naked? No, that's not the
No,
naked
no, so
male.
unfortunately, you have to be here in Oakland for that. We did do it online for a
I
short
might
while,
take
but
a
people are
bunch of.
like, we need to
No,
be in
that's
person.
so cool. That's so cool.
LA
I love
has some
it.
online classes. You'll have to look that up. But no, just Mondays and Fridays, I hold a Zoom yoga class, and I would invite anyone. Right? You don't even have to pay me. Like I'll accept a Zoom or I'll accept Venmo, but really, I just want to hold space for people because you know, and it's fun to like the people that come are mostly people that already know me locally, but then they move away, so they still continue. I have a
That's
cousin in
beautiful.
Pennsylvania, and I have a friend in Palm Springs, and but I'd love to expand that
That's
because I'm
very
gonna keep it
11th
going.
house.
Is it a
That's very
service
11th house.
or
Well, I was thinking in terms of communities, social circles, that you're providing this service, this
yeah,
yoga service to people.
yeah. And so
Um,
what I find though is people out like the last 10 minutes of my class, I'll turn on Instagram Live and do the sound bath, and people will pop on. I don't know how long they stay, but it just reminds me like it's a PSA of like I would like to encourage people to take even even if they come for 20 minutes of yoga, right? Just do some yoga sometime. And people will say, well, I have
Mhm.
that on YouTube and that, but it's really nice to have, connection like we're
Accountability.
doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can.
So so that's the shout out to the world is like I'll be here. I'm gonna show up if I'm canceling, it's always on my website. But that's one. The other is I
Mhm.
write for a Swedish magazine called Brains. It's kind of fun. It's yeah, Brainz, and I've put in like 6 or 7 articles. A lot of them's on
Six,
my series
seven.
on
You know.
thanatology. What? What's
Sorry,
that?
I'm so sorry. That was
What's
so
that?
rude. Are you familiar with 6, 7?
No, what's that?
Okay, it's best that you're not.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those like things that like teenagers are doing, like 6, 7, and because
Oh,
I
oh,
yeah, never
is it a
mind. Okay,
scale? Some kind of scaling?
I don't even know. It's the stupidest thing. I just taught it to my mom last week. She's like, "What is this shit?
Oh,
6, 7."
right,
It
right.
makes no sense. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Forgive
That's
me.
all
That was
right. That's all right. It
six,
is it is
seven.
balancing, right? I'll give it a 6.7. I don't know. Well, and that's the thing is I think like an old teacher who's now deceased called Daniel Quinn said old minds can't create new worlds. And
Mm.
I love considering myself an old mind that wants to stimulate the new minds to create their new world, right? Like I want to leave these books behind. I want to leave, you know, the Mr. Rogers feeling of it may not be the best day in your neighborhood, but you're going to make it the best day you can. And like
I love it.
those things I think were kind of
Mhm.
get lost in this frantic urge to keep up. Um,
Yes. Yes.
so and the other thing is like I do death doula work. I coach people, and it can be from anywhere in the world. Limited space for that, but I love when the right person shows up. I was like, we get to work together. Yeah. So I do think that as Nicole Kidman promotes the death doula field, that more people might think of it
Yes.
earlier rather than later. And yeah, so the grief work
Lovely.
and the this some people come from miles away to have a private sound bath. I've taken it around to different places, but mostly I'm serving locally and thinking universally. That's it.
I love that so much, and I like how you're like a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. And can you tell us about the literature that you have
Sure.
published,
Well,
please?
I flipped it, but I'll go in kind of age development. This
Yeah.
is the first of a trilogy called Cecil, and I won't give the second and third part around, but it's basically following the arc of a young kid that befriends death very early and lives a very long life, and how
Hmm.
that helps other people not be afraid of death,
That's
right?
beautiful.
Right. And then the second is I got these trilogies out, but it's a three-part. There's three people. They're kind of androgynous and non-binary in a way, but it's just
Cool.
there's three archetypes and they meet each other and they learn about soul friend, which is a Celtic idea. Then they go around teaching their neighbors about compersion, the opposite of jealousy, which is another, right, these obscure
What's it
words.
called? The opposite?
Compersion.
Compersion. I've never heard that word before. I love it. The
And
art
then
of compersion. I have to Google it later.
yeah, you'll find different. I expand it pretty broadly. Like I could be really jealous that you understand astrology. I could be really happy that you're teaching me about astrology, right?
I love that frame. I really love that
The
frame.
opposite of jealousy, basically.
Hmm.
And then, of course, in the end, like all of my books, there's got to be a death where in this case, it's a good enough death, and so they circle around and support each other while one of them passes away. You already know
Hmm.
about subversive acts, blah,
I love it.
and I'm doing a revamp, which has a scaling. I think maybe you've inspired me to do this, but like to scale what archetype of ape you see yourself as, and you can also be a
Like a
combination of
BuzzFeed
all the
quiz.
great apes, right? And then this one's fun. It's going to be relaunched in for Pride in June, but it's a
Ah.
it's a queer throuple saves humanity story,
Ooh,
uh,
slay.
right? And it's more like tongue in cheek, don't take it seriously, but if you know like
Yeah.
the three body problem, this Chinese author, it's a Netflix series.
Okay. I have to
When
Google it. The three
the,
body
the three body problem is this great four book
science fiction.
series But I said, when he was interviewed,
Ooh.
he's like, I wasn't really concerned about the character development because I just wanted to talk about quantum physics. And
Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to dabble with quantum physics, but I'm also going to really develop the characters. So what's it like to see a very messy throuple love on the world and help them rise their own vibrations? And it did win 2 Halloween Book Awards.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then, yeah, I will have some other stuff coming down the pipeline, but I have
Amazing.
found, and I have a great team. Someone was I want to just tell anyone that writes a book that you don't want to use AI to develop your thoughts. I think AI is a great editor, especially if you're run-on sentences like I do. But I'll like run something through and like it will help me, and I'll be like, is that what I want? I don't have the resources to hire a
Yeah,
professional
yeah.
for that
No,
level
but
of
you're still
development.
creating the art. And you know what? It's something to be said about artists making art by hand, writers writing their using their voice to write.
Yeah.
And that's that's still you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's what I'm concerned about is like the AIification, especially when it comes to children and teenagers. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the younger, more vulnerable
Well,
people that, don't. I could write this is a weird flex, like I could write a 10-page paper on a book I never read
right, right. Well,
without AI.
when I start
Yeah.
grading papers at my grad school course, I'm like, I'm gonna have to be really mindful. I mean, that's what I'll promote. I'll be like, I don't care if you use it to edit your stuff, but let it be your stuff first.
So
Because the
I taught high
weird
school. I would need to see their edit history on Google Docs.
yeah,
I know some teachers have the Brisk plugin because you're going to teach at the university
right,
level where like the teacher can see like are you just copying and pasting large blocks of text or like because I told them I'm like I want to see errors. I want to see you going back
of course,
revising. And
yeah.
again, I don't want to make a blanket statement like, oh, kids these days just put everything into Chat GPT. Because no, there are still people putting in the work. So I think it's just like the mindful usage of these things. And
That's right. And what
yeah,
I say in this one is we are simply apes and we have tools and we can use our tools, but we can misuse our tools too. And
exactly. Like for folks, yeah, like maybe adaptive technology. Like I see how, yeah, how I can be helpful, right? But it's like when it's just like, I'm a history teacher, the Industrial Revolution. I'm kind of thinking about this regarding the Industrial Revolution and all of the things, for lack of a better term, there, and all the unintended consequences of the Industrial Revolution, like imperialism, that we are still dealing with in the year 2026. Mic
true,
drop.
true.
So, wow, Ken,
Lots
it's
going
been
on, lots of goodness. Thank you for
such a
having me.
pleasure. Where can we find these books on your website?
I have most of them listed on the website. When the new
Okay,
ones
great. I'll
come
link
up,
your website.
yeah, yeah, there's a book section there. So
Great. So I'll
yeah,
link your Insta handle, your website, your email, all that fun stuff in the show notes if folks want to get in touch with you.
I'll send you a little bio too.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
Aw, thank you, Double
Oh,
Virgo.
my pleasure, fellow double Virgo.
Hmm. Well, oh no, actually, can I do a closing that I really the last podcast that I forgot and I was like, can I send you a recording of it? Is
Yes,
that all right? So I'm gonna
please.
do this. So you can just close your eyes, and then if you have a closing something to say, but I just want you to anyone that's stuck with us through this wonderfully non-linear, exciting exploration of so much of the human condition and to Sarah's astrology wisdom. I just ring the singing bowl 3 times, and the first ring is for the first breath we took as we came into the world. The second is for the breath we're going to take right now together. And the third is for who we become as we take our last breath as we exit the world. Thank you.
Thank